Great. Well, welcome. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today, Anne. We wanted to talk about things to do with sustainability and markets and capital markets. I guess the first question I had was, what are some of the global themes that you're focused on at Guggenheim? What do you see as risk and opportunity in the coming year?
Well, thank you for having me, Richard. It's great to see you. Great to participate today. You know, there's several very large global themes that are happening right now. As you all know, deglobalization is one of them. So we go from a world of very much globalization, offshore manufacturing, very open trade and borders, to a world post-pandemic where we're seeing the very opposite. We're seeing reshoring happening or friendly shoring. We're seeing manufacturers want to bring back the safety of having much more control over supply chains. That's one phenomenon that's happening right now. Additionally, we're seeing population changes, both migration, movement, also the aging populations, particularly in developed economies. Along with that is going to be a change to growth phenomenon in terms of GDP globally. Those developed markets that are seeing declines in population will also be experiencing slower GDP in the future. One thing we're all experiencing, we've certainly seen it in 2022, is the reflationary backdrop. All of these particular phenomenon are leading us to see a different paradigm with regard to pricing power of labor and pricing power of manufacturers to pass those costs on to consumers, and that whole phenomenon is taking place globally. We can't leave Davos without talking about the sustainability backdrop, which is companies and countries are much more interested in the sustainability of their business, of the markets, and of course of climate and of the planet Earth as a whole. And so that's an important thing that's taking place. It's also having a strong impact on energy, and essentially GDP is also going to be impacted as we go forward.
We certainly see on the billboards all around us all the sustainability messaging, so let's hope that lands. I guess, given Guggenheim's continued commitment to sustainable development, and you've been very clear about that, where do you see the biggest opportunities for creating impact?
So when I think of sustainability and where we can all put investment, obviously infrastructure really comes to mind. There's so much underinvestment right now in infrastructure and the ability to support sustainability throughout our various economies. And I think that's going to be a really important place to invest. Additionally, underlining our support of sustainability as a mission is our continued partnering with other like-minded institutions like the World Wildlife Fund, like a global infrastructure of Basel, and also other various institutions that we work here with at Davos, for example, and our concern with regard to the Arctic. As we've seen the warming of the planet Earth, we've also seen the change that's happening at the North Pole and along the Arctic. And so that's going to be something that we're going to continue to have interest in. And we've worked with our various partners to publish various thought pieces that discuss these very important topics and how we're going to partner with others in the future.
That's amazing. So, it's amazing to hear that you are actually focused on the Arctic as an organization in capital markets. So it's wonderful to hear. So the business community really has emerged as an essential partner to other stakeholders and other people that can make a change in terms of sustainable development and global challenges like climate change, nature loss, erosion of human rights. Where does the private sector really play a role, though, this year in terms of making concrete change, especially against the backdrop of all of this uncertainty that we're seeing?
Certainly. I mentioned partnering already, and I think one of the aspects of partnering also is going to include governmental institutions and quasi-governmental institutions, along with working with private sector participants to try and bring sustainability standards to the market. I know that S&P has spent a great deal of time working on trying to find some uniform standards that we can apply, and objective outcome expectations will have to be built around those. So I think that's really going to be important. The private sector can do a lot, but we can't do it alone.
Yeah, standards will be absolutely critical, and that's certainly something we're focused on, is ensuring that we have the right standards in the marketplace, that they are globally consistent. That's a major narrative for us. So, in May 2023, we have the G7. It's hosted this year by Japan. And I'm sure there'll be a range of critical issues discussed, such as, the economic backdrop, trade issues. Earlier today, over lunch, Goal 17 partners held a Guggenheim and S&P Global sponsored session looking at those concerns. What was the key takeaway from that session?
Well, I mentioned the trend change in globalization to reshoring and friendly shoring. What we're also seeing as another backdrop factor is more global tensions. And that's all going to continue to be a topic as we go forward in 2023. What I will say is that at Guggenheim, what we're very concerned about is trying to figure out what the market impact will be of these very strong factors that are happening and this backdrop. And so while we are going to live in a world of less certainty, as an investment manager, what our role is to advise our clients in where the markets will be going from here. And I think 2023 will see continued uncertainty as the world economies adjust to these global tensions as well as these backdrop changes.
Anne Walsh, Chief Investment Officer at Guggenheim. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your comments.
Thank you, Richard, very much.